All right, today we are building something pretty incredible. We're talking about a machine, but not just any machine. We're looking at the super complex, really innovative system that India has engineered to manage its waste. It's a fascinating look at how you tackle a problem on a massive scale. So let's dive in and see what makes this thing tick.
So let's just start with the big question, right? How in the world do you manage waste for 1.4 times billion people? I mean, the sheer scale of that is just mind boggling. It's a number that's hard to even wrap your head around. And it's a challenge that needs way more than just a few extra garbage trucks.
And the answer, as it turns out, isn't some single magical solution. Nope. It's something much, much more clever. India's approach is to build a system of systems. You got to think of it like a bunch of interconnected gears, you know? Each one has its own specific job, but they all work together to turn this massive problem into a process that's actually manageable.
So, when you're building a machine this complex, where do you even begin? Well, you start with the blueprint, right? And that brings us to the first part of our machine, laying down the law. This is the legal and regulatory backbone that holds the entire thing together.
This whole legal framework really rests on four main pillars. You've got the big one, the solid waste management rules from 2016, and then you have these super specific rules for all the tricky stuff. Plastics, e-waste, all our old gadgets, and even the hazardous biomedical waste. This makes things legally clear and, most importantly, it assigns accountability. It says who is responsible for what. And tucked inside those rules is a concept that is a total game changer. It's called Extended Producer Responsibility, or EPR. Now, here's the key takeaway. It means the company that made your phone or the one that packaged your food is now responsible for what happens to that product at the end of its life. This forces companies to think about recycling and disposal right from the start, which is a huge shift. Okay, so we've got the rules, we have the blueprint, but how do you get from a law written on a piece of paper to actual change happening on the street? Well, let's move on to Section 2 and see how this all connects, from rules to reality. This is where policy becomes action. And this quote right here, it just nails the core philosophy. Big nationwide campaigns like the Swachh Bharat mission are built on this exact idea. The system just can't work if it's only the government's job. It needs a huge behavioral shift from everyone. We're talking citizens, corporations. We all have to be part of the solution. So what does this actually look like day to day? Let's follow the journey of some trash. It all starts in the home with everyone separating their wet and dry waste. That's segregation at the source. Then you've got organized door-to-door collection. And get this, a lot of those trucks are GPS tracked for efficiency. They take the waste not to a dump, but to these material recovery facilities where it gets sorted and processed. It's a real modern supply chain. But here's where it gets really cool. The machine isn't just about getting rid of waste. It's designed to transform it. That brings us to Section 3, smart, circular, and sustainable. These are the really innovative layers that are all about building a greener future.
What we're seeing here is a fundamental shift in thinking. For the longest time, we've had this wasteful, linear model. You take resources, you make something, and then you just dispose of it. The goal now is a circular economy, where waste isn't the end of the story. It's a resource, something you can recover, remake, and reuse. It's all about closing the loop.
So how do you manage a circular system at this kind of scale? Well, you give it a digital brain. We're talking about things like IoT sensors in trash bins that send an alert when they're full, GIS mapping to figure out the most efficient collection routes. There are even online dashboards so officials can track everything in real time. It's all about making smart, data-driven decisions. Of course, a machine like this isn't cheap. So who's footing the bill? The system is powered by a whole mix of financial incentives. Yeah, you've got government subsidies, but there are also clever models like private-public partnerships that bring in corporate money and expertise. Even things like carbon credits play a role, making green projects financially sustainable. All right, so we've seen the rules, we've seen the action on the ground, and we've seen the smart circular tech. Now for the final step, let's put it all together and look at the complete machine, the entire system of systems at work. And this is where it all clicks. You have the regulatory system, which provides the rulebook, the municipal system that's out there every day doing the collection and sorting, the citizen-led system that drives the critical change in behavior. Then there's the circular system, turning that waste into something valuable. The digital system adds that layer of smarts and efficiency. And finally, the financial system makes sure the whole thing can keep running. See? Each part is distinct, but they're all connected.
And this isn't just a big deal for India. What's happening here lines up perfectly with major global targets, like the UN's Sustainable Development Goals for making cities more sustainable and ensuring responsible consumption. It's about tackling a local problem with solutions that have global significance.
Which brings us to one last really powerful question. As more and more countries around the world face these same challenges with waste and pollution, you have to wonder, could India's complex, multi-layered blueprint for waste management actually become a model for the rest of the world? It is, for sure, a system of systems worth watching.